Okay, good morning. We are in Kufim Aleph, Sif Aleph at the end, talking about different suros and things, and the Rama was talking about Shtiva Erev. Just one thing someone brought up is the discussion: can you use um, uh, holiday lights for your sukkah? Is there any problem with that? So obviously, it's not actual avodah zarah. That stuff. It's a takrevis. Is it no? Even that, it's probably not. It's just a question of being most. Even if listen, even a tree is not avodah. They don't worship the tree. It's not actual asherah. Even if the makor of a tree of the tree, maybe from from paganistic rituals or I don't know whatever, but the actual tree itself is not worshipped. It's just it's just something which is most. It's not to use that for a mitzvah. If it was actually used for that, I'm saying if you took things off the tree, just because something is made in China and as a picture of Americana Rebbe on it, whatever you want to say. I don't know. It doesn't. As Manalav Milsa, it doesn't make it into something else. But again, I feel hargasha. A person feels these things are not feel. So don't use them. I don't know. My wife said she used to go to when she was little with all these things to Chinatown to get these things. Chinatown, these things are made for the Chinese New Year's. So, and Chinese New Year's are probably even worse. Like, it depends what it is. Again, it's Manalav Milsa and, the Fia Indian, I don't know if it's a bar guy's, lights from his tree. So, okay, you use it for, for the winter. I'll use it, for sukkahs. Okay, I don't know. It doesn't sound so geschmack, but it's not, it's Fia Hargasha, so I don't think there's any real isser with it. It's just not geschmack. Fine. Siv Beis. Hamotzi shivrei tzlamim mushlachim. If you find broken pieces of psalim on the floor, or so you found them in a dig or something, or shivrei nechoshes, or you found them inside like broken metal or whatever. Oh, afilu shivrei elili matzman. Even not just at tzlamim, but they find actual avodah zaras, mutarim. All those things are mutar because they're broken, they're bottled. So if you go through archaeological digging, you find these things. You can they're mutar to sell. I don't think lahashras. I don't think it's mutar. I don't think you're allowed to keep them around either way. But no one's over them. So. Yeah, for most of it, yeah, that's what we'll see later on. That for, and we use it for. I mean, if you broke it to dust, and I don't know, whatever. But there it's butter because there's no. Yeah, it could be. I mean, I would think so, but I don't know specifically. But I don't know if the question is if the people who worshipped it are all dead, is that mevatel of avodah zarah or not? I don't know, because they weren't mevatel v'yadayim; they just sort of died. So I don't know. But
if it wasn't broken, but it just wore down over 2,000 years, is that considered?
So that lachor not. That's not so. Yeah, that I don't know. That's not so. Yeah, that's the thing. It says to be a dime. If it's not be a dime, then it loved Africa. It's bottle. I don't know. However, if you found the actual this is where it's mamish broken down. But if you found it on a pedestal, a yad, a regal, a piece of the idol, which is on its pedestal, that's going to still be also because you see that wasn't when they're breaking it, the whole thing's broken down, not just worn down with time. The chord also wouldn't be, I don't know if that would be so simple. Gimel hamotzi kelim. Well, and now we're going to start getting into Gimel Dala, the issue of different images and making images, and so the Gimel is going to deal with the isser of having certain types of images around. because of chshad. Um, there's two possible, and then in Dalit, hey, whatever, we're going to get into the question of making things. We're not talking about making avodah zaras. Gibel's more of these things were possibly avodah zara, or other people use them avodah zara. So if you have them around, there's a chshad that you have avodah zara in your house. Well, why do you have that? Like many other things, it's also b'tam chshad. We'll see a bit more in Dalit. We'll see what we get through about making different things. So hamotzi kelim v'aleim tzuras chama or levana. Someone finds kelim and on them are the tzura, the picture of a sun or a moon. Hagab, the hainu tzuros hanasi l'shem chama or levana. These are tzuros which are made for the avodah zara of chama or levana. K'moshe oisim balei talsmos, like astrologers and things. Tzuros of kochavim. Kigon tzuros of misyachtzos of shemesh, mitzari melech ma'utor yoshiv al agala. The ones which were like they portrayed the shemesh was a king in a wagon. I don't know. V'chein ki yotze v'zeh b'levana yesh lahem tzura miyuchedes. Right? If they have a certain tzura of that's worshipable. Like they was of kavod. They're showing like the picture of the man on the moon. Kilut's the man in the moon, or whatever. I don't think that's tzuras kavod. But these are things which were showing a certain amount of kavod to it. So that was, that's when we say that it's. We'll see. You found those pictures. Oh, a darkon, or you found a dragon. Who doimel l'nachash, and it's like it's doimel to a snake. Yesh gemintz napirin bein perikliyos shebetzavar, and has like certain frills or things like that coming out, puffing out from the neck, scales, frills, fins, different, So talk about that. I'll talk about more about Darkon in a second. It's interesting. I mean, in Darkon, listen, if you look at the Chinese portray, they have no wings. They just have like frills. It's just like a snake with it's like a certain type of snake with a fancy head. I don't know, whatever. So I don't know. If the kelim are mechubadim, then they're also shavadei nasu l'shem elivim. And these were made to worship. And therefore you can't keep them around. They were just there as a reminder, as I'm part of this religion or whatever it is. Or tashmishin, things like that, I think. Again, this is a chshad. Even if it wasn't used for act, you're talking about, it's also being drabanan to keep it around because of chshad. So, So v'elahim mechubadim sha'al hashirayim, if they're on like a cloth, fancy cloth or shrouds and things, I don't know, whatever, in nizamim, earrings, tabas or a ring, mavuzim, so matbeos. Well, first thing there's a discussion about matbeos, about coins. That's considered mavuzah. Taisa says also because everyone has them and they're not considered mechubadim, and there's no problem looking at it and things or whatever. Yoreh is big pots, kumkumsim, or kettles, chamin, urns, whatever. V'koisais sheshoyse v'hem, or they have mugs. Beinim heim lamata me'amayim or lamala me'amayim, but whether they're below or above, it doesn't make a difference. It's all considered mevuzim, and therefore there's no chshad that these things were ever used to be worshipped, right? If they were actually noy about zara, so of course it's also you found it, you don't know anything. If you know that these things were definitely not worshipped, even mechubadim are also mutar to keep around. Anything which is worshipped somewhere in the world, right? Afila ala mavuzim, even on the mavuzim asurim, ava pishein and the yoidim shekelim halal nevdu. They're also Even if you don't know whether these things were worshipped, you know that people do worship this surah, so it would be a problem. Um, when they engrave in the kalim with sirim behem elilim, and they paint, they paint their, pictures of their deities. Motzi kalim sheishem elilim asurim. This shita holds that therefore, if you find these kalim, then it's going to be also hagav. Minik is svara rishayna. The minik is like the first svara. It was one of the sheina of the kachavim oivdim l'tzuras halalu mutarim, and since nowadays the goyim do not worship these things, these things really mutarim bahana. You shouldn't keep them around. So especially nowadays, for example, like in Europe and things, they don't worship. As Chafazadin says, like, no one nowadays worships these these things, and whoever they do worship, or is like certain person or whatever. They don't. There's no shot at all to keep these things around. Maybe if you get these things from China, do they even worship these things? It's interesting. Even the Vodazars nowadays, if I remember, even the Eastern religions and things or whatever, even then, like, there's still only a shadow of original Vodazara. Fine, maybe in Africa or maybe in the islands, I don't know, whatever. But like even Buddha and all that, it's still it's an interesting thing. It was a philosophy. The whole thing about it's a philosophy that they represented it with a person or whatever this thing is, a pesel. So it's sort of like a weird avodah zarah. It's not like worshiping actual avodah zarah. They're worshiping a philosophy through derech avodah zarah, which is still avodah zarah. I would still smash the thing. I'm not saying, but what I'm saying is that it's it's not, they don't really have the same types of avodah zarah. So therefore, nowadays it's much lahashay. So yesh machmirin bechol hatzuros on niskara sofila b'zman hazeh. Those who were machmir in any of these things, avagav yadin delo palchi lahu. The Shach and the Gra both say that this Ramah doesn't make sense. He just says for himself, and it doesn't make any sense. There's no reason to be machmir at all. If they don't worship it, they don't worship it. Why is he saying that even if they don't worship it, it's machmir? It could be it's based. Maybe the idea is based on, it's the idea of a person shouldn't keep someone around his house. Whatever. You could, but why? It's gotta be machmir not to, just because it's not. But it's not in minadin. I don't know.
This is the law for people that not wearing a shirt that has a cross on it.
Yeah, all these things. Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
It
sounds like the Shach and the Gra didn't. They learned that the Ramah's talking maker it did, but
not saying it's a sheep.
Yeah. The Shach is marich. He said not even. There's a reason to be machmir, but again, it could be like he said. It's more of a. It's not midina, it's not a chumer midin. It's just it's a haga. Anyway, but surah's darkon muter la asaisa. The surah of a dragon, it's muter to even make. Ella also la shaisa etzel mishum chshad. He can make it, but he can't be mashed because of chshad. So what's going on with this? Very interesting marshal over here, which took me a long time to try to figure out what he meant. He says the pshat over here. The Marshal brings the bring the Marshal. Will say the reason why you would think it's usher to make a darkon, because we'll see in the next sif that it's usher to lo sasun iti. You shouldn't do things which are with me in the shemayim. So he says a lashon shu parech ba'avir v'enim shemayim. Dragon, he flies, but he doesn't. He's not in the shemayim. The lo karinam be lo sasun iti. So it's mutter. So I don't understand what's Marshall talking about. So after doing a bit of research and stuff and trying to figure out whatever, I came across it was really bothered me. I came across the Truvus Maram, who identifies the Darkon as what's called Tzli Agadol, Tafla Yud. So doing a search on what world that is, it comes out that he was quoting the Sefer Yetzirah. And in Sefer Yetzirah, it says that the Tzli Agadol is a mazel, and it's the Melech HaMazalos. The Sefer calls it Melech HaMazalos. So there's a mazel which, again, we don't know much about mazalos and things, whatever, but there is a mazel. Called in English in the star math called Draco. It's right around the north, circles around the North Star, the North Pole, like whatever. It's like a very long constellation. So it refers to that constellation that it says like when it turns, like the first, I don't know, I don't really understand a lot of the things, but it
revolves around.
It revolves everything around. Or the other thing they say is refers to Leviathan. Like not it's called like the first Leviathan. So when people are referring to at least the worship of the Drakon, it's worshiping the king of Mazalos, so to speak, the one who's like really in charge. So that when the Marshal says, I didn't see anyone talk. I finally found it. He says that that it's not B'Shamayim, meaning it's in the Avir, meaning it's in the the realm of the Mazalos, but it's not. It's not the problem of those sauce and et. It's like you're doing like the Shemesh and Yoreh and whatever. It's not on the same. It's not the same thing. Therefore, it is mutter to go ahead and to make it, but it's also la sheisa. It's also to keep it around because people will think that it was it's something which is worshipped, which was worshipped. It's just interesting because Marshal's here. The Shach quotes the Marshal. The Shach quotes it. Tachentaz before it. So like no one really explains it. So I finally figured it out. Like it seems like it's Jarim Shutim. I don't know, whatever. Anyway, okay. Now we'll start Dalit. Aser l'tzayer tzuros shebemadur shchina. It's aser to draw, to depict. I don't know what to write it. Say it. Tzuros shebemadur shchina. You go on Dalit panim b'hadei adadi. You have from the Ma'aser Merkava, the Dalit panim of the shore. Let's say the Aryeh Shore, Nesher, and what's the fourth one? Adam. Right. The shore, a crew replaced the shore in a later thing. So right. So the discussion about doing 4 biyachad v'chein tzuros asrafim, or I guess you copy what it says in the Yeshaya, v'ofanim u'malachi ashares. There's an Issa Deraisa of Losas Uniti to make these things. Nothing to do with the Avodah Zarah. It's an Issa to make images which are doimah to things of the mother or things around the Kodesh Baruch Hu. What's interesting is they discuss about what the Achronim discuss. If you do an Adam with 3 panim, says bimuter. It's only when you do, because an Adam with 3 panim is weird. It's not an Adam. But if you do it with a full arba panim, that's going to be aser, because that's Madur Shechina. Meaning, if you went ahead and you were Mishana and Adam, made him with 3 extra, a face of a lion in the shore with the Adam, that's not going to be aser, because that's not Madur Shechina. That's nothing. But if you do 4, that's going to be a problem. The point I thought of it to point out that here comes an afkamina. The Gemara, there's a whole discussion in the Gemara and the Rishonim about what a nesher is, right? Is it a vulture? Is it an eagle? So over here we'd have an afkamina lahalacha, because if you went ahead and you made, if it depends, if it's a vulture and you made an eagle, so it could be mutter, or the opposite. I don't know. It's archian on that. I don't know if it makes a difference. They do look similar, but I don't know. There's a b'achopanim. I don't know if it has to be exact, but whatever. It's a mikuda. B'chein tzuros adam levado also lahasayisa afilaheim lenoi avi kachavi masam lo also lahashaysam. And if a goy made it for him, it's also to also be mashahid. And there's a bit of a discussion. The groping is a bit of a machlekes about what's the iser lahashaysam here. Is the iser because of chshad of avodah zarah, or the chshad because maybe you were over the Isser of Lo Sasoniti. There's a bit of a machlokes about what's the like any other thing which is Isser you have around the choshen you did Isser. So what's the question is what's the Isser will be some nafkaminas or what is the Isser of the Hashoisa over here? Haga umiu imoitzi isam mutarim. If you found them, it's mutar milvad b'chamel levana shederech ovik rechavim lahavdam. Unless it's the sun and the moon, like we said before, that it's mechubadim and it's a derech to serve them, or sheyesh hochacha shasan lahavdam she'az asur kechol tzlamim k'mosh nisbaresh asimin. Then it's the same thing. If it's things which are worship, things which are not necessarily things in the mother Shechina, the mother, all these things or whatever. So then that's when you get into the earlier sif shaylas about is it a Avodah or not. But here it's a shayla of just of this Isser Lo Sasaniti. Lo Sasan Oisi is different ways of darshaning in the Gemara. Avedor Memurim Viboletes Aval. You know what? Maybe we'll stop here because it gets. Okay. It's a complicated sif, and the boletas. Each thing is boletas.